Good morning. How wonderful to feel all of you this morning. Although you're not in the room, I sense your presence and know that you are taking care of yourselves and your family, and it makes me feel good. What strange times we're in, huh? We would have never guessed any of this would occur. What an interesting time. Mark Twain once said, "What strange times we have." Of course, truth is stranger than fiction. Fiction has to make sense. Isn't that interesting? I've given that some thought, and it's difficult to make sense out of this, and I think that we can't, we don't, we aren't going to. And maybe we don't need to. Maybe all we need to do is pause, reflect, and say, I don't need to know. Daniel Nahmad has a song called I Don't Need to Know, which actually inspired my talk today. I want to share the lyrics with you in a moment, but listen for just a bit.
When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows.
How appropriate for these times. When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? Then things go right. It's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is much easier. We don't need a master plan. We can live here in the moment, 'cause our lives are in good hands. I don't need to know where the time goes, because God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, because God knows. I never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, because God knows. And the second verse is very powerful. But still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment I remember, it becomes so clear to me that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I can be. I don't need to know where the time goes, because God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. because God knows. And instead of a statement like cried out in exasperation or frustration or pain, instead, God knows can be a statement of complete and holy surrender to the divine presence of all love, all life, all energy, and all intelligence, where pure potentiality and infinite possibilities reside. And by Loretta Burns, Let Go and Let God. As children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because God was my friend. But instead of leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. At last, I snatched them back and cried, "How can you be so slow?" "My child," God said, "what could I do? You never did let go." We often keep our good away because we try to solve all the problems here on the outside, ignoring the all-encompassing help of the infinite. We rarely, entirely, habitually on those things we can see and touch and explain will let go. And we forget to rely on the spiritual good that inhabits and surrounds us all the time. We forget to rely on it and to express the divine power that never forsakes us. And here's a story told by Eric Butterworth. A few years ago, he said, I was flying from the West and the flight to which he was being transferred in Chicago was suddenly canceled. And in fact, 2 other flights to Chicago were also canceled. Hundreds of people milled around at the airport in anger and confusion. He was even somewhat frustrated because he really needed to get to Chicago. He had a very important meeting there. In his frustration, he remembered a statement of Edwin Markham that had often helped him. When you are the hammer, strike. When you are the anvil, bear. In other words, if there's something you can do it with all your being. But if there's nothing you can do, relax and just let it happen. That's what's happening with us right now, isn't it? We are needing to relax and let it happen, and we're not accustomed to that. We don't know what to do. We're doers. And all we're called to do right now is to be inside, to turn inside to that infinite power and presence in the universe that we call God, and allow our lives to heal, to be whole, and to welcome this time of change. Well, Butterworth was there, became aware of another man who stood out because he was the only other person who was not arguing or squabbling with the airline people. Butterworth went over and sat beside him, struck up a conversation, and asked him how he was being so serene and calm. He said, "Oh, I haven't always been this way, sir. You see, I spent a year in a mental hospital, and I had much time to think things out. It was a great growth experience, during which I made a covenant with the flow of life within me. And I learned that the goal in life is to let God express at all times, regardless of the circumstances. And I've resolved never to let things that happen around me or to me overshadow the dynamic presence of God within me. I have found that outer things always come to pass, but the inner power goes on forever." And after all the pressuring and demanding and even threatening of the other passengers, Butterworth's quiet friend was the first one called for the plane, and Butterworth was second. He said it was a great lesson in letting go and letting God. But here's the thing. They would have been okay if they'd been called last. Spirit makes a way when there appears to be no way. Tony Robbins said, "The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can be comfortable with." So I'm asking you right now, how much uncertainty can you be comfortable with and still remain peaceful and calm and loving and gentle and kind? We're going through an interesting time. I think this earth is being changed forever. I think this is what we've been waiting for. Maybe people in 2000 thought this was going to happen. Maybe those people that looked forward to it in 2012. This is the time. And the earth is going to change in ways you never would have guessed. We're going to change in ways that we never would have guessed. So I'd ask you to be calm. Know that it's going to be okay. Know that you're going to come out of this. We're all going to come out of this, and we're going to be okay. So stay in your homes whenever you're able. Get out and walk in the peace and solitude, or sit in the sun. But be calm. Go inside. Allow God to speak to you, and know that this is going to be okay. So as the word said, no matter what life is throwing at you, your perfect good is right around the corner. Don't look for it. It can't be seen. Don't predict it. Don't predict when it will appear. It may not be on your timetable. Don't doubt that it exists, for doubts will cloud your eyes and cause you to give up before it arrives. All is well. All will continue to be well. Whatever you're going through today, know that one thing is going to be okay. Allow yourself to heal and become whole. I can't wait till I get to see you again in person. But until then, take time to heal yourself and give your light to the world. Thank you.